That said, this team is going after big brands, so creator brands and then consumers. So their ability to create a brand and tell a story is really important. It's something I'd be probably open to taking a meeting to learn more about.
We are back with another episode of Second Opinion. Today, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Haley Bryant. She has been an investor at Hustle Fund for the last 2 years and has been an angel investor for the last 5. She has seen tons of decks, and I know from my own experience that she has a very sharp eye for pitch decks. She's been a great advisor to the portfolio companies that she's close to on startup storytelling and on gearing up for fundraisers. And so what I wanted to do was put 2 decks in front of her. She did not review them beforehand and get her fresh take reviewing these decks for the first time ever. I think it's an important behind the curtain perspective to kind of see where her head goes, things that she likes, questions she's left with, to hopefully give you a few cues or a few tips as you're gearing up for your fundraise and looking to develop a pitch deck that you want an investor to review for the first time, so you can hopefully optimize for that first impression. It's so important. So let's dive in.
CT Tracker, AI-powered SaaS for infrastructure management. Great. Curious, what kind of infrastructure? So focus on the U.S. infrastructure renaissance. Cool. I'm assuming that means they're selling into the government in some way. Let's continue. Founders with a lot of experience, a civil engineer and a software engineer. Love that dynamic duo. Seems like there's some founder market fit here. Let's go on. Okay, so you went from like a $7 trillion overall market, I think, to about 30 billion, maybe in their TAM for software specifically. I would love to see, more specifics around what this means and what this looks like, but cool, let's go on. All-in-one platform for control and compliance. So I'm guessing that people who develop infrastructure projects would use this to manage the end-to-end lifecycle in a more automated way and make sure that projects are compliant and collaborate in real time, which is sort of interesting in that it might drive some stickiness and virality of the platform and getting other people on board to collaborate on it. AI will drive expansion into new verticals. Okay, so the AI assistant will move from compliance into issue resolution and then flagging conflicts or safety hazards. That's really interesting. When I think about new verticals, I think more so that they want to go beyond the infrastructure market and into other markets versus building a more maybe horizontal product that can address more of that construction management lifecycle. So great to see the detail through the bullets. The infrastructure construction market is ripe for disruption. So this is their sort of market/why now slide. We don't often see the $1 trillion on this slide. It's often the billions. So it's clear there's a big opportunity, and cool to see that they're really focused on an initial wedge in California. So be curious to know more about how they know why they've kind of a right to win there, but love the sort of tailwinds that are going into this. They have projects with 150 million in construction cost managed on the platform. So this looks like really impressive in terms of almost like the GMV of the platform and how much volume they're managing, but definitely curious about how it translates to ARR. I would almost want to see the ARR up top because it's impressive that they have such a high ACV at $18,000 to $36,000 per customer, it sounds like. And their usage is like pretty incredible, that users spend 80% plus of their office time using the product. I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Yeah, I definitely would like to know a little bit more of how they got to that number, but I think this and then this in the fine print's quite impressive.
Yes, and then modules developed. I wonder what that means. I'm not sure if that's like modules in terms of their feature set or modules for their customers. Just need a little more clarity there. Let's continue. So it's the main operating system for customers. Okay, I love this that we get to see with numbers how this is positively impacting customers in terms of time spent. We know that generally companies buy software to either make money, or save time, and it looks like they're mostly focused on the time saving here, and they have some great customer quotes.
Yeah, and I would imagine that this 40% and faster project closeout could be tied to dollars, maybe more effectively, but totally agree this is more of a time-focused value.
Thinking the market is dominated by square peg, round hole solutions. I feel like there's a way to say that's even more specific and highlights the market opportunity. The quadrant actually doesn't make it I guess it makes it clear in terms of industry focus, but I'm also curious if any of the other players would service the industry. So I don't think I have a strong enough understanding of why infrastructure has so many unique challenges and needs a bespoke solution. They target small to medium projects, which is 90% of the market. So that's interesting to know that the market landscape, like customer base, is pretty disaggregated. So it's not like, there are just a few major players and they're already, taken care of. I do wonder now about their go-to-market based on targeting maybe a smaller customer, but then maybe balancing small to medium projects with the context of the size or scale of infrastructure projects and the ARR on that other slide. Yeah, I think this is sort of interesting. I'm having a hard time pairing their title with the categories. I don't know if there's
yeah, exactly. I'm thinking that this is like unique positioning, targeting the long tail, and then it looks like we're looking at software categories and the companies that service those categories with the specialized construction management platform, CT Tracker being the only player. So it is feels a little disjointed here. I think this is an interesting point, and this might be an interesting point, but I'm not sure how they tie it together.
Yeah, almost would be curious to know more about the underserved customer they're talking about, the unique challenges. There's a huge opportunity to just focus on that since they already highlighted the competitive landscape on the last slide.
Totally.
Battle tested and ready for go to market. Okay. And it seems like they already are starting to go to market. Would love to know more about that. Maybe it's on the last slide.
Yeah.
Just a call to action. Okay, but we love that. Great.
Sure.
So that's CT Tracker, AI for the infrastructure industry.
Yeah. So what sticks with you after going through this deck? What are things that intrigue you, as well as maybe like central questions that you might have that would give you a little bit more of an informed take?
Yeah. So we've been lucky to see a lot of interesting companies building AI solutions in construction, and end-to-end solutions. So I've seen the point solutions that are more focused on compliance, safety, and then just workflow automation. And then we've also seen the sort of end-to-end, but nothing focused specifically on infrastructure. So the fact that they're going after this huge market is really interesting. I think as we discussed, I'd love to understand why the needs are unique a little bit better and why a more standardized platform would not work as well for them. And then just kind of more on go-to-market, I think the founder backgrounds in civil engineering and in industry and then in software engineering, it seems like they're able to build this product and their customers love it. The question is kind of how they get the word out more beyond these initial customers. So I have a lot of questions around like sales cycle and where they're finding those customers. And it seems like they could talk a little bit more specifically about California since that's a wedge market for them. It is interesting in that it's a huge market and it does seem like it's underserved. What really jumped out to me was the traction side. So their users spending 80% of their time in office using this platform is sort of insane. I think as you asked, Alex, I'd be curious to know, what does that actually mean? They just have it open, or what does that sort of look like? And then what are the structure of contracts? But it's definitely interesting and somewhat differentiated from what I've seen out there.
Totally. I think that if this is true with their earlier customer set, I feel like I need to know this earlier because it just shows like a truly transformative product as it relates to like project management with large infrastructure projects. It's kind of baked here towards the end of the deck, and I'm glad we caught it, but it seems like, sometimes there's technology that's like a light improvement and maybe somebody touches it once a day or a couple times a week. If they're literally taking their entire project management into CT Tracker, that seems really valuable and would lead me to believe that the ARR or the contract value would be higher over time and that they could really kind of transform operations for people and try to track towards these outcomes. So
totally. I think the ACV is really interesting in thinking about, so if they sell into specific projects, my initial concern was that maybe once the project's done, then the customer churns. But I imagine these are very long lasting projects and there's probably an opportunity to do cross-sell, upsell, So I would be curious even to know for their current customers what the expansion potential is. VCs are always trying to figure out what is the path to the 100x scale from whatever entry point we get in at, especially at the pre-seed stage. So to be able to do that math quickly and say, okay, well, they need 1,000 customers, or actually they only need 500 customers would be, that'd be helpful and something they could probably eliminate more here.
Totally. Totally. And I like how you stuck on, as we were getting towards the end, this concept of targeting small to medium projects. And I think you brought in the terminology of an underserved market, where I'm not exactly sure that was directly stated. And so I definitely feel like there's like a link where we could look a little bit more at that segment of the market of the people that are losing some portion of this $30 billion number per year because of this lack of technology. And then, to your point, understand why a very purpose-built platform is needed to solve this problem. And then likely that it helps address kind of this market map that feels a little bit just kind of slapped onto a slide versus really kind of informing why a purpose-built product is needed to service this small to medium-sized long tail of the market, which amounts to 90% of the market, and then thus creates kind of a really large TAM opportunity. So I think that there's a couple links that we could draw that just might make this a little bit stronger. But that's just my take.
Definitely.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Awesome. I think this is so general kind of takeaways. Is this something that you might want to know more about? Do you feel like the deck does its job in moving them to a next round potentially in a theoretical kind of investment flow? Or do you feel like this is...
I would definitely want to probably like both. Is there actually, are there other players in this space that are building for infrastructure? And then just to know more about the founders would also be great. It's something I'd be probably open to taking a meeting to learn more about, given their traction, assuming they're raising a pre-seed round.